From Prakriti, Satwa evolved. From Satwa, Rajas evolved. From Rajas, Tamas evolved. From Tamas, elements evolved. Elements. The first evolved element was ether. Ether. From ether, air evolved. From air, fire evolved. From fire, water evolved. From water, earth evolved. All came from the power of awareness, which is actually the source. Power, awareness and consciousness. There are two principles. There was self-born, which was there always. So when something evolves, the awareness wants to know how and what was created. So awareness started to create something more, to know things. And so when ether evolved, along with the evolution of ether, a sense to know the ether developed. This is sense of hearing. So Sankhya says, when ether evolved, to recognize ether, a sense, an idea of a sense, not this here, just an idea of creating something, to sense ether evolved. That is sense of hearing. And why Sankhya says sense of hearing means sound travels in space. Now we know sound travels when there is air. You make in the primary school we have studied this. You create a vacuum and you create the sound, but the sound will not come out. But it requires space for it to travel. For air needs space for travel. And so that when a space is created, there evolved a principle for the creation of a sense, which is a sense of hearing, and that evolved. Then when air evolved, to sense it, to understand what has happened, sense of touch. And it's all with our experience. You send the air to your hand and you will feel air is moving. So to sense the air, sense of touch evolved. To sense air, from the awareness, sense of touch evolved. So as soon as fire evolved, to recognize what happened, sense of vision evolved. It has a lot of application. When you become a teacher, it has a lot of application in yoga and in Ayurveda. So that is why you are studying. It is not simply a theory you are studying. Something happens to your students when you are doing your class. Anything can happen. And something happens, and then you understand as a teacher which is the root of the problem. And then you correct the root, and then you can take them out of the problem. Otherwise, you can do exercises, somebody collapse, you call the ambulance, they will take. That is not how it works. If you create a problem or even if you are not really part of that problem, but still it happens in your class. Something happens in your class, you have the basic responsibility. You have not done anything, but you have the basic responsibility to deal with it. And that's the reason why you have to study all these things. Otherwise, you can go and train your students in yogasana, and somebody may be coming maybe with a very big hypertension, and they come and you ask them to do the Shirsasana, they may collapse. So you need to know how the body is function. You have the responsibility. You have to ascertain what is going on before you start the class. Then you know, somebody says, I have a stomach problem. Then you know which element is involved. When they say, I have hypertension, then you know which element is involved. So how to re-regulate the elemental system at that time to bring that person out. And that's why you are studying all these things. Usually in the TTCs, you don't study. And then you do something, there happens a trouble. And then who will be responsible? The basic responsibility comes to. So you need to know how to deal with the situation. That's why this is very important for you to know all these things. So in our school, we have no other option. Though boring, but you need to know this. And then your understanding will be deeply founded, that you will have confidence when you stay in the class. And without that confidence, you cannot manage a group of people. That's why we are studying these things. And you may feel, not you, maybe people may feel that why this boring philosophy we should study. You have to do Surya Namaskar. You have to do asanas. Time is wasted. 5 hours of theory. But you are not just studying, you are going to teach. When you go to teach, you need to have the confidence in what you do. So you have to go to the root of it. All masters, great masters, they know this. And without which you cannot actually help anybody in crisis. A Japanese girl who was studying with us here, and then later she came for a workshop in Italy. She's a friend of my daughter. And so this girl, and we have been doing the asana correction workshop. How to correct the asana and all this. And so this question came, if something happens, what will you do, sir? You have studied all these things. We have studied all these things to have the knowledge how to deal with the situation. And so ask what you will do when something happens. Like somebody is fainting in the class. What will you do? And this girl said, I will call immediately the ambulance. Yeah, you have to call the ambulance. But you cannot strict up the responsibility by calling the ambulance. The ambulance will come maybe after 3 minutes. Within the 3 minutes, something you have to do. If you don't give that kind of a help, then maybe you may not get time to rescue. So that is why you need to have the basic knowledge. To understand why I am pushing you to learn this. When you go out of our school, you need to have the base. Whether you remember it or not, we have done our responsibility. So sense of vision evolved. Water. When water evolved, along with evolution of water, something else happened to sense the water, which is sense of taste. Sense of taste. From earth, and you know, sense of, if your mouth is totally dry, when you put a sugar piece in your mouth, you will not feel any taste. It is like sand. So you taste things based on the liquid which is there, produced by your mouth. Watery mouth can taste things. Dry mouth cannot taste. So because of that fact, he speculated, or he understood that when water evolved, there lived the development of a sense, and that sense is sense of taste to recognize water. And then earth, when earth evolved, this earth is very solid state. Sense of. For recognizing earth, sense of smell. And then in the evolution process, sense of hearing. Slowly, the intelligence has created ear, an organ. This is senses, and this is organs. Sense organs. Ear later evolved from discourse. Air, sense of touch. From sense of touch, skin. Idea of skin. And then fire, vision, eye. From water, tongue. TONGU, and earth, sense of smell, nose. They are called subtle monads, or the subtle aspects of sensibilities. And this is subtle monads, this is organs. And then all these things are for sensing. You acquire knowledge by sensing through the sense organs. These are the sense organs to gather information from the external world. And all these things evolved from the Satwa quality. Satwa is clarity, light, and knowing, knowledge. Knowing comes from knowledge, and so all these things evolved from the Satwa quality which is there in the elements. All the elements have all the qualities in it, because they are coming from the qualities. From Prakriti, Satwa evolved, from Satwa Rajas evolved, from Rajas Tamas evolved, from Tamas ether, air, fire, water, and earth evolved gradually. And when all these elements evolved, corresponding senses evolved to recognize. And so from ether, sense of hearing evolved, and later ear was formed, and from air, sense of touch evolved, skin evolved, and sense of vision. It took millions of years. And sense of vision, eye evolved, sense of taste, tongue evolved, and sense of smell, nose evolved. All evolved from Satwa quality simply because Satwa is knowledge. Knowing is the way for acquiring knowledge. So that has to consider that Satwa, or from the Satwa quality which is there in the ether element, sense of hearing evolved. I am repeating for you to register it. From the Satwa quality which is there in the ether element, sense of hearing evolved. From the Satwa quality which is there in the sense, in the air element, sense of touch evolved. From the Satwa quality which is there in the fire element, sense of vision evolved. From the Satwa which is there in the water element, sense of taste evolved. From the Satwa which is there in the earth element, sense of smell evolved. I hope this is clear. I try to make it as clear as possible. Whether you remember it or not, I will say a few times more so we can register it in the. Can you understand the root of yoga philosophy? It's very deeply founded. And then when you come to the applications of asana and all the things which you do, will get a clear picture what you are doing and what's the purpose of yoga. How you can get back into the source. Yoga means union of your individual self which is formed by all these inputs that came through the sense organs as sensations and something more that will come.
ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ സത്വയിൽ നിന്നും എലിമെന്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടായതാണോ പറയുന്നത്, അല്ല ഈ മൂന്നിൽ നിന്നും എലിമെന്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടായതാണോ?
സത്വയിൽ നിന്ന് രജസ് ഉണ്ടായി, രജസിൽ നിന്ന് തമസ് ഉണ്ടായി,
തമസിൽ നിന്നും ആ ഓർഡറിലാണ്.
ആ ഓർഡറിലാണ് ഞാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ ആരോ ഇട്ടുകൊണ്ടാണ് ആ സംശയം വന്നത്. അപ്പൊ ആ സംശയം ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത് ഈ all the elements have all the qualities in it. Every element has the quality of Satwa, Rajas and Tamas. You know, that is the reason why I kept it on the right side. I am keeping space on the left side. From the Rajas quality which is there in the ether element, from the Rajas quality which is there in the ether element, something else has happened. Rajas means passion and activity, desire to move and movement, passion and activity. From the Rajas quality which is there in the ether element, sense of hearing. So sound is involved there. So sound producing organ, the idea of sound producing organ, which is mouth. Vak, Pani, Padam, Payu, Pasta. Mouth for creating the sound. So you can hear this. From the rajasic quality which is there in the air and moving and expanding organ. Hands are expanding. The nature of air is expansion and movement. And you are expanding the world with your hands. Imagine all the things which we see here, the new world which is created around us is done by your hands. This is the relationship between rajas and air. From the rajasic quality which is there in the air element, something evolved, that is hands. The idea of creating hand work. The idea. These are all ideas are formulated. And then things started happening as always. Because the rajas quality which is there in the fire element, the locomotive organ, the idea of creating leg is there in the rajasic quality which is there in the element. Then from the rajasic quality which is there in water, genital, the idea of genital. From the rajasic quality which is there in the earth element, the waste expelling organ, anus. In Sanskrit, Vak, Pani, Padam, Payu, Upastha. These are some Sanskrit words. Vak, mouth. Pani, hand. Vak, Pani, Pada, legs. Payu, genital. And anus, Upastha. Vak, Pani, Padam, Payu, Upastha. Then the question, then what happened from the ether, from the tamas? And nothing special has happened because the very nature of element is tamasic in nature. Because it's already grossified, started to become gross. So the quality of the element itself is gross, that nothing special has evolved from the tamas, but the very nature shows tamas in the elements.